the city picked the schools for the first time in quite a while, but the school district says they deserve way more money than that. And I know this is being litigated, but do the students in the city of Providence deserve to have more than a $3 million increase?
The students of the city of Providence deserve everything. I care deeply about them. The dilemma that we're in right now, not dissimilar from school districts around the state who have an independent school board, is we have no insight or oversight over how they spend that money. And so it's important for us to put our values into our budget, which means increasing funding, which I'm happy to do, and hope that it finds its way directly into the classroom. But the school department also needs to manage their budget effectively. And I don't have any control over the decisions that they've made that have led to the deficits that they say they have.
You called out lifespan in your speech. When is the last time that you met with leadership and have reached an impasse in those negotiations?
No, the negotiating teams met very recently within the last 2 weeks, and we're not at an impasse, but it's been almost a year now, and we still have a lot of ground left to cover. And so I appreciate that they're at the table, but in the same period of time, we were able to finalize and then actually start to implement a best-in-the-nation version with the colleges, and it's time for us to make better and more meaningful progress with lifespan.
When would you like to see that agreement reached? Ideally, yesterday.
Yesterday. I would have liked to have seen the agreement reached last year. I mean, if you'll recall, we had a little back and forth last year about when we requested the first meeting, but nevertheless, it's been a year. And so I respect and appreciate that they have organizational challenges and funding challenges of their own, but as I said in the speech tonight, it is not uncommon. In fact, it is common in this part of the country and in many other places for a hospital to contribute to its host community. What we're asking for is not unusual. And so it's time for us to make some progress. We're going to stay at the negotiating table. We're not going to walk away until we get a deal that is responsible and fair. And as I said, I really believe that we can find something that is good for both organizations. And I hope that they see the spirit of collaboration and the positive things that have come out from our higher ed negotiations that could be an entirely different relationship with our medical institutions.
Mayor, cities across Rhode Island not only are cutting schools, but are at best trying to obtain level funding. How were you able to actually accomplish a significant gain in funding in Providence?
Budgets are about priorities, and it is important, as I talked about a lot in our speech, where we have made difficult choices in Providence to be ready for the expiration of these federal funds. The school department also has been living with a lot of federal funds, which are also expiring. And I'm sympathetic. Believe me, I feel the challenge better than most because we've had to go through it as well. So it was important to me that we find additional funds for our students. The kids in Providence are one of the most important things that we can and should be investing in. And so we were able to find the money by choosing not to do other things that we would have wanted to do.
A quick follow-up from the sublime to the routine. You talk about replacing a significant number of the city's tolls and parking meters. How is that going to go? What kind of transition will take place?
Yeah, I mean, so parking meters in Providence they've been falling into disrepair over the last several years, and we made the decision to unify with one standard meter company. We have 3 different types of meters in Providence, and one of the things that I used to hear, in addition to the fact that they would be broken or wasn't clear on how to pay, was if you were doing business or shopping throughout the city, you might interact with different meter companies that all worked differently. It was a hostile visitor experience. And so we have a brand new meter with modern technology. There'll be multiple ways to pay. Believe it or not, you couldn't pay with a credit card the last couple of years in Providence, which is how most people pay. So you'll be able to pay through multiple ways. They'll all be new with new signage, and it'll just be a better experience for everyone, for both the users and for the businesses that they help support.
There was a brief mention of the Washington Bridge, but nothing specific in the budget plan. How do we explain that, given the crisis we're seeing?
I mean, I've spoken plenty publicly about all of our work to try to improve both infrastructure and support for businesses and families affected by the bridge. The state is who I continue to call on to provide direct financial relief to impacted small businesses, and the governor has made some announcements to that effect. This is a state crisis, and needs to be supported with state funding. And so I will continue to advocate for small businesses in Providence to receive support from the state. But the infrastructure changes that we're making, which were outlined in great detail in the last 2 weeks, are already accommodated in the current fiscal year.
Mayor, you said you are making big investments in climate resiliency. You said green is the new snow. Just explain again why that's so important to include in the upcoming budget.
Yeah, I mean, the way in which climate change is going to manifest itself in the Northeast is more high heat days and more rain. Folks should remember the first time ever we canceled school in the fall was this past September because of high heat. We've had high heat days in June before when the school year lingers on a little bit. We've never had to cancel school in the fall before because of high heat. Classroom temperatures of 87 degrees. Additionally, we've seen chronic flooding almost weekly, certainly monthly. And so the effects of climate change are real. They are here today, and Providence is a frontline community. And so in addition to the big infrastructure pieces, like the Providence hurricane barrier, which we've made meaningful investments in for the first time in decades, we're also making significant investments in our stormwater and sewer systems. In this budget, there's a new staffing in the sewer department who have been working tirelessly, overtime, late at night, to be able to better handle storms like this in the future, in addition to tens of millions of dollars of investments through the capital improvement plan, which is a separate budget, in actual sewer infrastructure. All of this will then be integrated with better policy that you'll find coming out through the city, but also in the form of our comprehensive plan, which was something referenced in the speech tonight, to help depave some parts of our city, to add permeable surfaces in our city. What that means is a parking lot with gravel at the edge, or in our neighborhoods where we have homes that have paved over their front yard in order to find additional parking. All of those hardscape surfaces with no drainage, all that does is put all of that rain into our sewers. And so we need to be doing all of the above. We need to fix the big infrastructure like the hurricane barrier, we need to invest in our sewer systems, and then we need to prevent some of that water from getting into the sewer in the first place. And we are entirely focused and committed to this, and that is on the mitigation front. The other thing that I addressed are the policy changes that we're making with respect to decarbonization and trying to do our part to meet the moment in the climate crisis. I'm not naive to think that Providence alone can solve this, but every city around the world needs to take the same steps that we've taken here in Providence, which is pledge to have our public buildings be carbon neutral, which is through the Bureau ordinance, which is to have our private buildings report on the amount of energy consumption they do use, which is the first step towards them decarbonizing. And it's through the climate jobs announcement, whereby we're recognizing that not only do we have a role to play to actually put our money where our mouth is and do our own buildings first, but also to recognize that there's economic opportunities that's going to come with some of these economic costs. And those opportunities are in the form of good jobs for the future, in many cases union jobs, with apprenticeships and a career that can support a family, for a family hopefully right here in Providence.
Mayor, it doesn't look like there's specific funding budgeted for the relocation of the South Water Street bike lane. Can residents expect an upcoming funding commitment from you sometime in the future on that?
Yeah, as I said when we made that announcement, that the funding for the South Water Street will be used, will be using existing infrastructure dollars, and so it's not reflected in the budget submitted tonight, and does not come at the expense of another project.
And on the noise cameras, you got $100,000 budgeted for those. You did see some skepticism from lawmakers initially about that. What's your hope on that? Like, what's your sense on where that initiative is going?
I remain very optimistic about it. I saw skepticism from one lawmaker on that, and I saw broad support from most others. There was definitely some debate about whether every community wants this, but I can tell you that the people of Providence want this. Noise remains a top concern, both in our community satisfaction survey and the feedback that we've received from residents, and we think that this is a good way to get at that problem, freeing up our police officers to do what they should be doing, which is focus on violent crime, getting guns off the street, things that is better uses their time and talent. And so I remain optimistic. If the legislature passes that bill, we've got funding now to go out to bid for these cameras. And like the other camera technology, they'll also generate revenue. And so the full effect of that budget initiative we'll see after we get the bids back, which will be later this year.
Can you just speak to your decision not to raise taxes this year? Is that sort of a recognition of next year there's going to be the reval and some homeowners might see higher bills if their values go up?
When we took office last year, we knew that for the 3 previous years, the city had used one-time ARPA funds to plug budget gaps, which was unsustainable and irresponsible. And so, even though nobody is excited about, and it was not easy to have to raise taxes last year, we knew that it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do to both prepare for the expiration of the federal aid, but also, once you take that step, that revenue is then baked into our tax projections going forward. And so in large part because of last year's tax increase, we didn't need to do a tax increase this year because those taxes are already now into the base of our levy. Every year, I don't want to raise taxes. It's only the years that you have to raise taxes. That year was last year. So I'm happy this year that taxpayers in Providence will not see a change in their tax rate.
Mayor, because Amy mentioned the bike lanes, I wanted to just ask that Councilman Goncalves is proposing an ordinance along with several other councilors tomorrow night that would have the city council, that would mandate that the city council authorization for requiring the removal or replacement of bike lanes. What's your reaction to that ordinance?
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. The city council, certainly it's their prerogative if they want to explore this, but it is the city administration, me or future mayors, it's not just about me, that is tasked with responsibly managing the city and administering the city. And that includes our administration of our roads. So I think it is an overstep of their responsibility. I think it's a bad idea. And with respect to this bike lane or other changes, our roads change all the time. We add parking, we take away parking. We've removed bike lanes before in the past. We've changed travel patterns in the past. If the city council starts legislating every possible change to every possible street, nothing will ever get done.
So you'll veto that ordinance if it reaches your desk?
I'm hoping that we can work something out before it gets to that point.
Like what?
We continue to talk with them, and again, the controversy over this bike lane, to me, seems to regularly omit the fact that we are going to just move the bike lane. We are adding a bike lane that is off-road, which is actually safer for cyclists. And so hopefully cooler heads can prevail and we can not have to face that decision about what to do with the ordinance. Great, thank you all.
Thank you.